Welcome back to another episode of the Carbon Cardboard Podcast covering the Formula One card hobby. I'm your host, Bryan, Q3 Cards, joined as always with Scott from the P1 Castle.
What's going on, folks?
If you're not on YouTube right now, we're getting a first look at the P1 Castle.
Underground.
The new P1, the underground of the P1 Castle. This is the behind the scenes of the new operation here.
That's true. Yeah. So finally, it's been like almost a year-long process getting our basement completely refinished and everything down here. So we're down here now. If you saw our Fanatics live stream earlier this week, growing pains, but we've gotten the camera issues sorted out. So yeah, still getting the setup. Like it's not, we still have a ways to go in terms of finalizing the setup and everything, but yeah, we're down here. Much to the Queen of the Castles, she's super happy about it that we're not yelling upstairs and waking up our son. So we're way down here in the basement where no one can hear our screams of joy.
Love to hear it. So you and the Queen also just returned from another trip to Singapore. So
yeah, second time to Singapore in 3 months. Absolutely insane. Never would have thought that was in the cards, but yeah. So this time, Queen of the Castle got to come with, and we got to watch the fireworks from Jeff's apartment. So it was nice. Yeah, good view. We also went on just Eric and I went on a wetlands reserve walk at 7 a.m, like before the place opened. Saw some Komodo dragons and crocodiles and stuff that were like 5 feet away from us. So that was exciting and exhilarating. But yeah, it was a good time out in Singapore. And obviously, dropping off the insignificant card for Jeff for sure.
That's P1 premium consignment right there. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, we're just coming back from the holidays here, Christmas, New Year's. Starting off 2025 here strong. We're going to talk about Logofractor. You've been ripping it. It's been, finally. A lot of people have been opening it. We're seeing a lot of cards. We're going to talk about, that set. We are going to get to some of those listener and viewer questions that everybody hopped in. So there's some really intriguing ones that you'll get to know Scott and I a little bit better on some of our hot takes related to the Formula One card hobby, some of our PC cards, and etc. And then finally, Scott, I know something. I mean, the P1 Castle and the other name iterations that you've had. I mean, it's the house built on Sapphire. We are going to talk about 2024 Topps Chrome Sapphire.
Yeah.
Dropping today, basically, by the time this drops. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, and obviously, a lot of controversy over this year's product since we've seen, the one-of-one Padparadscha 1954 and base autos coming out in Chrome. But we're gonna talk a little bit about it. We still can't quite mention everything. Hopefully, all will be revealed soon enough. But we'll definitely get into it and share our thoughts on what we think maybe a pretty good product.
Pretty good. All right, let's talk Logofractor, Scott. And last time out, we did a little bit of a preview. We didn't have a lot of information. I will fully admit, I almost just brushed it to the side. Like it was like, oh, that's cute. There's the little logos on all the cards. I was pretty wrong. I like it a lot. I'm sure I might like it better than Sapphire. Yeah, it's got that Sapphire vibe, but it's a little bit more like clean looking, maybe more uniform, where Sapphire is kind of like all over the place a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the first year, right? Like And you can't say that about any year Sapphire besides 2020. So it's the first year they've done Logofractor. Firsts are always good. We like doing firsts here in the P1 Castle. And yeah, first year of Logofractor, really cool product. Obviously, it was a European only release, so it was a little tough to get it here in the States, at least initially. To the point of, you said you kind of ignored it. I basically was like, oh yeah, it'll make its way over here. Fine. A little did I know it was going to triple in price by the time it made its way over here. Because if you recall, Bryan, this product came out priced right around qualifying lap. So yeah, obviously, qualifying lap, Logofractor, have kind of gone different ways, I think, since their initial price offering. So yeah, obviously, Logofractor has been the hit of the year so far, I think, in terms of the product of the year, which is funny because we were just a couple weeks ago talking about how Paddock Pass was like, oh, new product of the year. And then here they go again with another home run. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's been great this year. I think hobby mixed reviews, qualifying lap, it doesn't exist. But Paddock Pass has been great. And now Logofractor has been amazing. I finally got to rip some. I was like feeling all kinds of, envious and FOMO and everything, sitting on the sidelines watching everyone else rip it. I was like, oh man, I gotta get some. Now I've got 35 cases, so I've got plenty of Logofractor to last for quite some time, which is great because I do think it's a great product. There's still tons of
It's a good mixer. It's a good mixer product. I know you've done some of the breaks, and I know others, like Golden Pulls, Metals Breaks. They've done kind of the same thing. I think, Scott, for me, like the makeup of it is it's very Sapphire-esque, but it's very condensed. Where there's the 8, I think it's 8 packs in a box.
Yep.
6 of them are just base, 4 base cards, no inserts. Like there's been several people that have, just opened them just to prove that, yes, there's nothing else in there. Yeah. I got to ask, Scott, because you're my captive audience right here. What are you going to do with all that? Because I think it's perfect to give to kids, to give to bring to the tracks, and you can let them open up, and you're not worrying about losing a hit or something like that. Yeah. And they get to experience opening packs and get to see the cards.
Exactly. And that's what I've been saying in my streams. And whenever I rip it, I'm telling everyone, listen, whenever we go to races, we've always given away packs, given away base cards and everything. Now we can give them packs, right? Why am I going to bring a bunch of base cards that are already opened? Sure, you can find someone wearing a Sergio Perez, shirt, and then be like, oh, okay, give them a Sergio Perez card. And I can still do that, right? I can still bring, a stack of individual cards. But yeah, I think this is literally the perfect product for that. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. And like I said, we're going to a lot of races this year. We're going to Miami. We're going to Canada. We're going to Monza. We're going to Austin. We're going to Vegas. So every race we go to, we are going to be bringing a ton of these base packs and giving them out to kids and fans, not even just kids, right? Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. A lot of the people at the races, they don't even know the cards exist. So they're opening the cards and they just hit the driver they like. They don't know that there's a gold out of 50 or an orange. I remember someone hit an orange Lewis Hamilton portrait last year in Miami, and I was trying to explain to them how significant that is, and they were like, oh well, I don't really like Lewis, so you can have it. And I was like, whoa, dude. So again, for people that are just their first experience with the cards, or they're really young, etc., it's perfect. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to put together some goodie bags and have a bunch of these packs. They're all getting given away at races and to local boys and girls clubs, hospitals, etc. And then they get to enjoy opening the pack, which is, it's awesome. That's literally the fun part. Perfect for that, like you said. So that's what our plan is. Although, it is funny, because we had a couple boxes where there were 3 Logofractor packs. So make sure if you're out there breaking this stuff, or you get a Percy, check. Don't just take your top 2 and then chuck the other 6. Look through them. because, you know, we've had a couple where on the last pack, it was another Logofractor pack. And that's obviously extremely significant, like given how the product is put together, you know, where every card in those packs is a Logofractor card. So, yeah, I agree with what you said, though. Really cool, like, way to open it, right? Like, if you think of like a Sapphire box, you're still opening 8 packs, right? And going through everything. Whereas in this, yeah, you're just opening 2 packs, you know?
It is.
So
It's like Breaker's Delight, which we thought we were going to get.
well, that was supposed to be qualifying lap, right? Which was the complete opposite. Maybe it was really Logofractor was Breaker's Delight, and qualifying lap was Breakers Take Fright, because, like, you know, it was not complete opposites, polar opposites in these two products. Similar price point to start with, not anymore.
So two packs, basically 2 parallels per pack. The rest of them are the base Logofractors. Even those look great. The cool thing is some of the inserts. Usually there's an insert potentially sometimes on the first card in the pack out of the 5. So you're getting 10 Logofractor cards per box, basically. You could get an insert card right on the top, so you could actually end up with 5 inserts in that, which is great. And more often than not, it's usually like a recharged, and I got to show up some of the images of some of the cards you pulled. Like sometimes you get a really nice, like, black out of 10 helmet collection right off the top, and you're like, whoa, that's pretty good.
You know, and you got to be careful. Like, and I think kind of like everyone at this point, I think, has opened enough, or at least most of the breakers have opened enough that they've realized, right? Like, I remember opening it, going to the, like, you got to, like, you slow roll that, like, opening of the pack, because, like you said, you can have a 1 of 1 sitting on the top. So, you know, you do have to be careful. But yeah, it adds some extra excitement. It's you know, it's funny, I was talking to my wife and I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm running 10 boxes of it. It'll take like 30 minutes because we're only opening like 2 packs a box. Like, I'm opening 20 packs. Like, how long am I really going to spend on it? But like, I liked it so much, I was going slow every card I was looking. I ended up spending, like, you know, 45 minutes on 10 boxes. But it's just so much fun, you know. It's
our friend Chris from Just an Incident, just the other evening, right off the rip, had, I think, a 1 of 1 Pierre Gasly recharged.
That's amazing.
Rose gold 1 of 1. So yeah, really cool. Let's go look it through. So, I mean, when we talked about this initially, Scott, like, we had some of, like, the facsimiles and whatnot. The proof's in the pudding, as they say here. Not Logofractor. We are talking Logofractor here, as I've got up on my screen. Both you and I are big fans of helmet collection, as many people are.
Insert of the year, for sure.
Insert, we're going to talk about it eventually with Sapphire, spoiler alert. But, like, I think it took the parallel colors in chrome, and it just kind of, like, fills in a lot of that extra, like, empty space. Definitely. And I feel like it gives an even better silhouette of the driver with the helmet on here. It's just fantastic. On screen here, we've got a Max Verstappen. This is a gold out of 50. Fantastic looking card.
Yeah, and I will say too, like, and, you know, this is really important for folks that are, like, posting, like, so if you get a card in hand that you hit in a break, or if you're a breaker and you're posting a hit, lighting matters. Because, like, I've seen some other people posting, like, the stuff, and, like, depending on how the lighting hits, like, you know, because usually if you're on a break, you can move the card and, like, you get to look at that F1 logo and everything. So you really, guys, lighting, because, like, look at the F1 logo everywhere on this card, and that's what really brings it to life and makes it look so dang cool. Like, this card looks legendary with that F1 logo all over the place. So yeah, lighting is key. And man, it really shows off just how beautiful these cards are.
The 1954 auto cards here with, we got a Charles Leclerc out of 50 on screen here. Again,
this is black out of 10.
This is black out of 10. Oh, geez.
The black border. Cause it's tricky with these, right? Cause it's just the border, you know, for this stuff. And I think it's cool that they added black, right? That's another thing about Logofractor, is that in Chrome, there's no black out of 10 for inserts, for any insert. And I love that they added that in. And like it's cool on this. Now it's especially cool on helmet collections. But yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful. I think the black obviously goes well with the gold here for Leclerc.
But I think that there was so much empty space on this insert in chrome that it definitely it just makes it so much better. Like a Logofractor 1954 compared to the base chrome, it's no question which one you
Night
should
and day.
prefer. This is another out of 50. Charles Leclerc, gold helmet here. Again, it looks so dang good with the Logofractor on here.
Yeah, and you know it's funny in our first break, and actually, so now we've got an Oscar Piastri out of 25 up on the screen. Helmet collection. This was hit for just an incident. So he's not only is he hitting for everyone, he's
the guy's on fire right now.
It's insane. Literally, send him all your product, have him rip it for you, have him buy your spots in breaks because he's just hitting left, right, and center. But it was crazy. Literally, I ripped one case off bat, did 2 10-box breaks. Right, I hit 8 helmet collection colors. like people were saying, people in the chat were like, they're the helmet collection king of the castle. Whatever, like,
well, Clayton with medalist breaks might take offense to the helmet whisperer little hashtag he's got going on there, because I was in a 10-box break with him and I had Kimmy and George Russell, and out of 10 boxes he pulled 3 George Russell helmets for me.
That is
black out of 10 to start right off the rip, then a gold, and I think he finished with an orange later on, and it's just like, wow. It's just like it's crazy.
So we've got the helmet whisperer in Clayton, and then the helmet king of the castle over here. I wonder how many hit in the whole case, because like they seemed like they were coming out like candy. Like literally, I think we hit 3 golds, 3 oranges, and then a black and a red. And I still haven't hit a rose gold helmet collection. I really want to. But yeah, I mean, wow. Black
on screen, Scott, we've got the Gasly helmet collection 4 out of 10. Ooh. This right here is the best parallel for helmet collection, in my opinion.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and then black doesn't exist in chrome, right? Or in quality. Like, this is the only place you can get black helmets, and we'll talk about Sapphire later, but it's still the only place that you can get black helmets, and they look really cool.
Red looks pretty good too. We got a GR63 on screen here.
Red does look pretty good. I know this would like almost finish your rainbow.
It would, if I could just ever get a hold of the rose gold, but there's M. Grove and Rossi, and there's plenty of other big George Russell. I happen to just take a George Russell spot out on a whim, and man, that worked out for me. So
yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, so yeah, red, this was our biggest helmet collection card that we hit for sure. The red, and it looks, I mean, geez, it just looks amazing. Now I will say, shout out to Hari Panjani from SG or the Break Room SG. So it's over in Singapore actually. So he's got an F1 community of breakers over in Singapore, and Hari runs, and we actually got to hang out with them for a while. Went over to Satay by the Bay and Gardens by the Bay with Erica and Hari. And I actually joined one of his Logofractor breaks because over in Singapore, I don't know, they just don't appreciate the F2 and F3 spots. Like, they were so cheap. And, he had them all together, and maybe that, was the thing. But so I picked him up and I was watching his break, and he hit a red Charles Leclerc Logofractor helmet collection. And as nice as this George is that I pulled, the red Leclerc, oh my. Like, I mean, that card is beautiful to behold. So yeah, huge shout out to Hari. That was amazing.
Love to see it. And that's one of the best parts is like Formula One, it's a global sport. It's definitely, I mean, the cards are more popular here stateside, and definitely growing in like the UK and whatnot. But if we get a hold of that market too, like it's just huge, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, no, I mean it's been great, and seeing things like Hari trying to grow it organically over in Singapore is awesome. So hopefully it continues to reach different parts of the globe. And I tell you what, products like Logofractor are gonna help it, because this has been a true and true home run. There's a couple people who aren't, completely on board, but I would say about 90% of folks who, are buying into brakes or buying singles, etc., they all want Logofractor. So yeah, no, it's a great product. Gotta say, hats off. Great job by Tops for all the flack they've gotten this year for the mishaps with Chrome, Sapphire, and Quality Lab. The product that shall not be named. That's what we should start calling it. The product that shall not be named. It's like
It's
the
like
boogeyman.
Voldemort.
Voldemort, exactly. So the product that shall not be named from now on, that's what we're going to refer to qualifying lap as. But for all that, this was a home run. And Paddock Pass was great, but I think Logofractor so far for me is product of the year for F1. It helps that it's the first year they've ever done it, but yeah, it's beautiful. And like you said,
And it's really short printed too, Scott, isn't it? Like there was
500
not.
pages.
Yeah, so nothing bigger than a green. All the inserts, there's nothing bigger than a gold. You are definitely getting each, at least 4 inserts per box. If you've got the 2 packs, maybe you get a bonus 3rd pack, like you said. Sometimes more if you get an extra insert on the top of one of the packs. It's the odds are actually really good to get some really good hits. Now, you do still have the expanded checklist and the F3 and F3 cars, and we won't belabor that point. We've made that several times before. And it can be really tough to chase, a driver like I've been with Kimmy, where he's only got 2 cards.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty pretty long odds to actually even hit a parallel, let alone a base card of him. But when you hit it, oh, it's such a good feeling.
Feels good. Definitely feels good.
All right, Scott, let's go to some of our viewer listener questions before we start talking about 2024 Sapphire. So we're going to rattle through these pretty quick. Again, mostly just to get our hot takes, our opinions about things that maybe we just haven't really either thought of covering, or we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary of doing this podcast. Soon here. Time fly. It does not seem like it's been that long at all.
Yeah, we're giving the community what they need, what they want, right? Answering the burning questions that the avid listeners have.
So first question, Scott, was regarding the 2024 Chrome Autos, and specifically, and we did it in our first preview when we talked about this, where some of the drivers did not actually have a, air quotes, portrait autograph. Right. I think some of the notables, George Russell, Fernando Alonso, maybe Lance Stroll. I'm trying to think of there's a few drivers that just.
Lance still got it. But yeah, I know George is the big one, right? I think
George is the big one.
That everyone was like, whoa, he doesn't have a base auto. What's going on with that? But yeah, so yeah, like you said, I mean, it seems like they kind of paired things out, moved things over. They've only have so many stickers, right? So they got to make some decisions somewhere. But yeah, so less drivers have the base auto this year. All the drivers have the 1954 this year.
I mean, what does that do for? Like, I'm thinking about it. I do collect some George. I don't have autographs from all years, but you're just not going to have a base chrome autograph. And he does have the 1954, and I think he has a Circuit Master. It's for those, and we're going to get more of this year by year, because like even 23 Sapphire image variations changed, and there was no aqua, and anybody that had been collecting aqua image variations up to that point can't do that anymore, because out of 99 is a base Sapphire. It just makes it a little difficult as a collector to have consistency. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is tough, right? And I think if you think, from year to year, set builders, right, trying to connect the years, like it does, it's a hole, it's a gap, right? Same thing with the variations. But, at the same time, the designers of the product are trying to find ways to differentiate because, as much as folks may like, oh, I want to make sure I get the base auto of my driver every single year, like the worst thing would be if we got the same product every single year just with a slightly different design, right? Like no one wants that. We like seeing innovation. We like seeing new things like helmet collection. And, not everyone loves a horizontal auto, but I love the fact that they've added in a new type of chrome auto. I think it's cool. Now I will say, I think, for the drivers that have both, take for instance, like Lando Norris, right? Has the 1954, he's got a base, etc. Tons of drivers do. I think the base is going to demand a higher premium, right? Vertical cards almost always sell for more. We're kind of Dynasty is its own beast, but like vertical cards pretty much always outsell horizontal cards. And I think the design of what is essentially the base portrait, right, with the sticker on top of it, really, for the autograph, I think overall, for me, it's a better design than the 1954. I think people have kind of been, some people like 1954. I think I'm in the majority of thinking like, the base auto looks better than the 1954. I think there may be some examples of where it goes the other way. But at least in early sales data, now again, it's crazy to think that we've only had Chrome for like a month and a half. Feels like we've had it for 4 months already. We've only had it for a month and a half. But I mean, if you look at 130 point, eBay, etc., the bases they're outselling the 1954. Sometimes 2, even 3x. So yeah, I think overall they're going to be worth more base if they've got it. But for the instances like George, their 1954 might do better comparatively to other drivers 1954, and hey, it might make some of the prior year base autos go up in value because you're not going to be able to get it from 2024.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good point. All right, from Helen, our good friend Helen, Supermax, Super MSC. She wants to know what our top 3 PC cards are. PC being personal collection for those not in the know.
Okay, do you want to go first?
It'll be tough for me because like I'm in the midst of like this massive like overhaul of what I've been doing, and I've got a ton of stuff at PSA. I'd say my number one with a bullet right now is I just got it back from PSA. Kimi Antonelli, Red Ray Wave, because that's a tongue twister. PSA 10. Ooh, I'm actually floored. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to, I thought it was actually going to get a 9. I'm a little overly critical about my own cards, especially or if I'm submitting from other people. I'll never guarantee results, but man, with a 10 from a very, parallel that is not going to see the light of day much because like, as you said, no one wants to rip. You can't even do a mixer with qualifying lap.
I mean, if you rip the product that shall not be named, even if you rip it, you're still not going to get it. I ripped 12 cases. I hit 2 reds, and it was, F3 car or something. Yeah. You're just not hitting those unless you're on a generational run like D2 has been lately. So yeah,
that's my number one with a bullet. From there, Helen, it's tough. Like I've got some stuff at PSA. I know I've got a gold Kimi auto that I'm waiting to get back. I'd say the other one I'd say I've probably got in hand is, and I got this from our friend M Purple. Kevin was a Aqua Sapphire Oscar Piastri portrait rookie card from 2023 PSA 10. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna keep that. When eventually Oscar's winning multiple World Driver championships there. But I'm a little bit more modest, but I have to say I've got quite a bit. I'm going all in on Kimi at this point, for better or worse.
Hey, listen, and it can be. There's so many different ways to collect, right? And like one of the things that I think this is a good time to make the point is like there's no wrong way to collect. I know people who this new product come out, they're trying to buy every black and white Ray Wave to put together a full qualifying lap set because they want to build a set, and that's
Mhm.
what they're out to do. And then there's folks like yourself who, for better or for worse, changes their mind
A lot.
quite
It's it's
frequently.
it's an ADHD trait, hyper
And I think,
focus.
what we should do is we should maybe I'll have another question for you later, Brian, that we can talk about in another podcast. We'll take a look at like Brian's PC through the years, because I know you've had some other very big and very different cards than what you have now. So it'd be interesting to see like what cards you've owned throughout your time collecting, that kind of have left a mark. But yeah, I mean, hey, that's you've got one of the best Kimmy Antonelli cards, that's for sure.
How about you, Scott? I know it's tough as a breaker too, because you don't want to dip into your own honeypot too often. But I do know that you've got quite a few cards that I've seen in hand that are probably never going to leave your bookshelf.
Yeah. So, and I mean, like you said, long past are the days of me, sitting at home on work calls in finance, doming 2020 Sapphire boxes. But I do hop in a lot of breaks actually with other folks to help support. I haven't hit much this year. I've been in a decent amount of breaks. I haven't really hit much. But in terms of some of the biggest cards in my PC, or the cards that mean the most to me, right up there, obviously my orange 2020 Max Verstappen auto. If you haven't heard the whole story, I have a very personal connection with that card through not only my late father, but also my wife. So big card for me. Obviously, it's a big card, so like there's that aspect of it, but it just has such a personal connection to me, in terms of why I'm into Formula One, and everything around my life and how I got started in this new venture. So that is definitely up there. My 2020 Dynasty Sebastian Vettel Seb nameplate. I mean that, like I named my son Sebastian, right? So like that card is probably up there, and I could name off a bunch of different ones, but the other one that I'll include, which is a pretty big card, but it's not a monster by any means. But so I have a 2020 Sapphire Max Verstappen 70th out of 70 portrait. It's only a PSA 8, but to me, it's super special because I pulled it on the eve of my wedding. So me and all my groomsmen, a bunch of family, we're all hanging around the night before the wedding, late at night. And I was like, I'm gonna dome a box. I'm gonna forego 3,500 or 4,000, whatever it was at the time, dollars, dome box, and had a pretty good box. I remember I pulled a purple Leclerc winner in Great Britain out of that box too, and some other stuff. But yeah, so the Max was big to me, and that actually spearheaded my wanting to get the entire 2020 Sapphire out of 70 F1 portraits and F1 logos. And so I've completed that set now, but I'm actually in the process. I'm almost there. I'm so close to getting them all in PSA 8s, because the Max, first time, N6, they wouldn't even grade it. But then Bryan, the postman, because he always delivers, ended up getting it graded, and we got an 8 because it wasn't a perfect card by any means, but we got the number grade and it's an 8. And so then I was like, well, I'm never going to sell this card ever because of the personal meaning, right? Because I pulled it on the eve of my wedding. So I was like, all right, well, cool. That just saves me a ton of money because now I'm putting the set together and I don't have to get 9s or 10s. I just have to get 8s. So there's been many times, like shout out Sweet Pea. I was at the trade show, that we co-hosted last year, and I had a Sebastian Vettel, and I think it was, who was it? Sebastian Vettel and maybe Sergio Perez, some other driver, in PSA 9s. And I was walking around. I'm like, hey, I'm offering PSA 9s. Anyone have a PSA 8? Does anyone have a PSA 8? And Sweet Pea's like, I've got those in PSA 8 in my vault. And I was like, done. And I gave them to him. And he sent me over the PSA 8 versions. I still have a couple I need to downgrade from 9s. I think I still have 110. I think there's like 3 or 4 left that I have to downgrade. So if people have those in PSA 8s, I'm offering with nothing on top, just a free, you can upgrade yours. And to me, it'll be a personal collection upgrade. So yeah, those would probably be my 3.
That's a good question, Helen. I really like that one. And I also like the idea of seeing how much my collection will change in 3 or 4 months, because it inevitably will. I know our
When
friends.
Jimmy Antonelli DNFs in the first 3 races, you'd be like, George Russell!
I know our good friends, Chris and TC, are snickering because they know. All right, Scott, also a question to you as well. And this is kind of, you can't cheat and you can't say the 2020 Max Super Fractor, but biggest pulls from 2020 Chrome and then 2020 Sapphire, just one of each. Or maybe not the biggest, but maybe like the best, like maybe moment or something like that.
So, okay, so I'm gonna cheat, and I'm gonna pick 2 for each product because
it's our show. You can do that.
Narrowing to 1 is just so hard. So for Chrome, one of the ones I'm gonna pick, and listen again, like this is just like, especially like you said, best moment. So friend of the show, Scott, Racing and Chronos. First time he ever bought in with me. I didn't even know who he was. He probably barely knew who I was when I ran one of my shows on YouTube. Like at this point, it was like a year and a half or almost 2 years ago. And I was doing a 2020 Chrome case. And I ran a 2020 Chrome case. And then he's like, oh, do you have personals available? And I was like, sure. And he ends up doming an entire case. But in that case, right after, in the case we had just hit a Sebastian Vettel Super Fractor. So in the next case, he domes, we hit him the Charles Leclerc Super Fractor 1-of-1 car. And the reason that's so significant is that Scott had the entire rainbow and had been chasing that specific card for over 2 years. And the first time he buys in with me, we hit it. So like that is just like a perfect moment, right? So that is up there for one of my favorite hits. And then I think the other one would probably be the orange Lewis Hamilton auto that I hit for Julian for Cardboard Hitters, because it was just, I mean, so many boxes, and Julian, sorry to even bring this up, but there was one time that he was on a break that I was running. I was doing a case break of 2020 Chrome live in Miami. This is not last year's race, but the year before, because I always do a 2020 Chrome case in Miami during the race. And he was on the spot and for one reason or another had to drop out. Black Mesa comes in, Lewis Hamilton auto. And so like I think Julian didn't talk to me for like a week or 2. And so finally hitting him an auto and it being an orange was legendary. So I think those 2 from 2020 Chrome. From Sapphire, probably gonna be one of them would be the first ever purple Lewis Hamilton image variation that I pulled, because it was live at the first trade night. So we've co-hosted with different people every year, but we've co-hosted the F1 trade night every single year. So the first year that we did it, it was with Albert Collection and Jupsta. And then the second year it was with Golden Pulls. And then last year it was with Medalists and Rated Rips and Golden Pulls. So we've kind of been a part of it every year. But the first year we brought like 5 boxes of Sapphire to rip, and we pulled a purple variation of Lewis, which at the time was like a $40,000 card. And like everyone went nuts like around the table. So that was cool because it was just pulled like with everyone there, which is always just such a cool moment. I mean, that's why we do breaking in general, right? Is because while it's virtual, it's that sense of community and it's everyone kind of cheering for those big hits and everything. But then you take it one step further and you get to do it in person is just really cool. So that is one of them for sure. And then another one, God, I mean, I could go through so many. I'm staying away from the pads. I mean, I've hit tons of pads. I mean, Jeff's case with 3 pads and it was unbelievable. But specific card would probably be back in 2021, late 2021. So this goes back before most of everybody that's breaking now was even breaking. I think the only people at the time that are still doing it was golden and rated. And this is when I was breaking from my kitchen table. Like, you remember these breaks for sure. My little marble, like, well, fake marble, like kitchen table that I had that I used to break on because I didn't have any place in my little apartment. And Dave's cards. Dave's cards was on one of his legendary like Percy runs, like going through box after box after box. And we pulled the gold Max Verstappen portrait 33 out of 50. And like at this time, it was 2021, right? It was like November 2021. So Max was number 33. Like he hadn't won the championship, switched to 1 or anything. So driver number was super cool. And now I gotta say another one now because that just reminds me. And this will be the last one. Sorry, I don't want to take too much time. But so the last one, and this is just cool memories. God, and this really brings me back. I've got to make like a whole epic hits or something. And it's not always just about the biggest cards, but it was again in 2021. It was during Thanksgiving. And I'm at my mom's. And I'm there with my stepdad, Bob. You may have seen him in the chat sometimes, Instagram, Bob Powell. My pop's stepdad, Bob. We had a couple. It's Thanksgiving. We're enjoying ourselves. And we're down in the basement and we're watching Golden Pulls rip. And we had joined, like, I think I bought like the Renault spot and something else. And I had a box. And I was like, you know what? Let's dome a box. We're going to dome a box. So we asked to join their live, right? And Eric, it was because D2 at this point doesn't exist. Well, he existed, but he wasn't, part of Golden Pulls. So Eric's like, yeah, come in. It was Eric and Jacob at the time. And they're like, yeah, come in. So we're dual live, right? And I'm ripping the box and we pull an orange Danny Rick portrait, a gold Schumacher portrait, who at the time, that was huge, a Max base variation, and then we pull an aqua portrait of Lewis Hamilton. And like, we went nuts. We're like, because at the time it's like a $10,000 card. And so we're going crazy and everything. And like Bob, me and my stepdad were high-fiving each other, like, oh. So then we get off the live and my stepdad's just kind of looking at the cards and he goes, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was like, what? He goes, oh, isn't he number 44? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, 44. I was like, what? And so we had hit the 44 out of 99. So then I'm messaging them. I'm like, let me back in the live. Let me back in the live. So I get back in the live. I'm like, look, it's number 44. So, and then we end up selling that card for $36,000.
Wow.
40, yeah. I mean, it's technically a 1-on-1, but yeah, 44 out of 99. So that was a legendary hit. And again, it's about like the memories like that. We was down in the basement with my stepdad. We were on Golden Pulls live. Like, so that's one of my favorite memories on Sapphire. So yeah, there's a couple. It's always impossible to get it down to one.
Good stuff. All right, 2 rapid fire questions to wrap us up before we get started. This is going to be a long episode, people. Just deal with it. We haven't had an episode in a while, and we won't do a double feature this time.
It's a good one.
All right. Yeah. All right. Overlooked insert from the last couple of years.
What are your thoughts on this one, Bryan?
So for me, just like overlooked, I mean, there's ones that people really like. Obviously you've shared your affection for track tags and it's justified.
You're trash.
I was thinking about this one of like ones that I actually don't have any in my collection now, but I think it's a good like a snapshot in time of like what a team looked like. For me, I'd actually probably say the Constructor Coalition, which is a mouthful to say, but you've got the 2 teammates on one card and it's from the 2022 season. Some of those aren't going to be there, but the fact that they had parallels of it too, so you get gold. I don't know if they did a wave or not. Orange, red is looking pretty cool with that. So that would be my like overlooked set. I think I would say the Constructor cards.
Yeah, no, I really agree. Those are good. And yeah, they did do gold wave. So it was gold wave, true orange, true red, and then obviously the super factor. Yeah. No, that's a great shout. I love that one. I think for me, it would be actually from the 2021 set. And 2021 set wasn't the greatest for inserts. Like obviously they had the 1961 car, and then Path to the Podium, which I really didn't like. But I think I would actually go with this. So this is the red liners, and up on screen here I've got a red Charles Leclerc red liners, which little
Ooh, I forgot about that
preview.
one.
Yeah, so this is going to be actually going in our singles show. So we're going to do a Leclerc only. We just did a Hamilton only singles show last Sunday. We sold over $10,000 in one single show. Absolutely insane. Of just Hamilton cards. And listen, there's a lot of people do singles. Like, come on. Where else? Where else are you going to see cards that big on singles shows? Like there's repacks and everything that people have massive cards 100%. But if you want the best singles, only in the P1 Castle. So we're going to have some monsters of Leclerc up this Sunday. And yeah, I would go with that. I would go with the redliners. And especially, everyone loves a color match. But I think redliners is one, like, it's kind of been forgotten. And it's my favorite from 2021. And it admittedly a weak insert year. I don't think anyone really loved a lot of the inserts in 2021, but that would be my favorite from that year.
I honestly had almost forgotten about that one almost entirely. All right, last question. Kind of our thoughts about Tops Now. Now, 2020 was the first year they did Tops Now. First appearances technically from Tops from a lot of drivers like Lewis Hamilton, card number 3. Max Verstappen had his win at Abu Dhabi. George Russell had a card for subbing in for Lewis Hamilton. Just long-term value, like what are thoughts about the long-term value from that? Before I kick it over to you, I would say my stance on Tops Now, it's not an investment type of card. It's a collection. You're collecting moments basically of things that are significance to you as a Formula One fan. Like to me, that's what you like this past year. Like for me, at least some of the moments that stick out the most are like Leclerc winning his home race in Monaco, winning at Monza, Lewis Hamilton winning at Silverstone. Like those to me are like
Lando's
you can get
first win.
Lando's first win. Those are the things like in the moment you can get a card. Eventually in Chrome, they might do the Grand Prix winner, driver of the day, but it's like that in that not immediate because you got to wait a couple of weeks for them to produce the cards and ship them and stuff. But like, I think when we look back, I don't know that they're going to be investment vehicles and eventually the more recent years they've introduced parallels and when they first did these 2020 2021 maybe they started with some inserts in 2021. I can't remember or not, but I don't know. For me, they're personal. They're like you collect the moments and stuff that you like, but I don't know if you disagree with that or not.
No, yeah, I mean, I think about it in two ways, right? So for me, because I collected them heavily, right, in 2020, 2021, especially, to me, it's almost like the story of the season, right? If you were to have just and parallels aside, whatever, if you just have the base card from every race of a full season, it tells the story of the season, right? Like you see, okay, generally you're going to see like, oh, who won the race, like all the special moments that happen throughout the season. So I do think it's cool to put together a set. Like I know a lot of people who just every race they just buy the bundle, right? And that's it. If they hit a parallel, cool. Maybe they'll sell it to recoup the money that they're spending to get the base cards. Right now, I like outside of the Max that we'll talk about in a second, the first auto ever. I'm not really big into like buying, I'm going to buy 200 copies to try to chase, whatever. To me, I think it's the moment. So like for me, I really agree with you, right? Like if I'm thinking from a collector's perspective and like the ones that I bought personally this year are the races that I went to. Like I was there for Lando's first win. So I wanted that. I wanted that Tops Now card as an extra way to commemorate that. I actually do the same thing with mini helmets. So for all the races that I go to, I usually buy a mini helmet from that race. Sometimes it's Max because I really like Max, or sometimes it's whoever won the race or whatever, right? So like I got the Miami helmet for Lando and for Max. And I even got the one for Piastri because I thought it looked cool. So, I like to get the mini helmets or the Tops Now cards of the ones that have meaning to me personally because I went to those races, like Singapore, right, where I got to tap Lando's helmet. Like for me, that's like something I'll never forget. So I want that card, right? I was also hoping I maybe be in the picture, but I wasn't. Spoiler alert. But so I want those moments that have meaning to me. But I do really like the idea of getting the bundle, so you have one of every card for every race because you can put those in a binder. And like, I would love to sit down 6 years from now and take Sebastian on a journey through the Formula One season through the cards, right? Like that's like one of the core reasons for like collecting is like making those connections. And I think if you can sit down and go through a binder and relive the race, like recall, like right now, if you're going to throw out a random race, it's going to be hard to think about like, okay, well, who won that race? Like what happened? But if you've got like a few cards, you're like, oh yeah, that was the race that the lizard was out on the track and everyone was going crazy, and like, so like those, I think that's cool. Right. And Mike Mahan was talking about it in an interview. I don't know if you saw he did with Ryan, card collector too, talking about Tops Now and how they've really kind of ramped up a lot of that. And we'll see how that kind of bleeds over to Formula One. But I do think it's cool to like make those moments matter. And it's not going to be for everyone. It's almost like two separate subsets of the hobby, right? Because it's very different feeling of buying a bundle and like maybe you get a parallel, maybe you don't, just having those cards, or like buying into a break or buying a box and ripping it, right? Completely different experiences. But I think there's merit to both. And yeah, I now that I'm thinking about it, like now I want to go back and I want to get all the Tops Now cards because now I'm like, damn, I really want to go through all the full year with Sebastian, in a couple of years when he can, pay attention for more than a minute. So yeah. So there's my
He might be interested in a
long-winded.
couple of years, but I don't know if you'll have his attention for more than a minute. So
Nah, probably not. I'll bribe him with candy or something.
yeah. That was good. We got to do this every so often. That was good. So hopefully we answered some questions, and many thanks to everybody that took the time to add some comments. I mean, we are a small little operation here. I'm doing this a year. Our broadcast reach is still relatively small, but we do it because we love it. And we both love to talk and both love Formula One. So it just goes hand in hand.
Love it.
At the 53-minute mark here, Scott, I think we're finally going to talk about what we wanted to talk mostly about this episode with is Topps Chrome 2024 Sapphire. And you mentioned it at the top, what surrounded in controversy, and even at the time of us recording here, semi have to be careful of what we say. There's a lot of things we still don't even know. But we can share some things. We can share some of these images because the day that this releases, you will be on Fanatics Live opening these. If for whatever reason you get a cease and desist, we'll delay this episode. But I don't think that that's going to happen.
No,
so we are going to we're going to show some of the cards here, but we're not going to rehash the talk of inserting some of the pad autos into Topps Chrome. Obviously, that was a benefit to that, but a detriment to Sapphire. And we talked about it during that episode. What was Topps going to do? So let's just talk about what we can talk about, and how are we going to approach on this? Because we were worried that this product was dead on arrival before it even released.
Yeah, and so I want to address that, right? So Sapphire 2024. Take the whole controversy aside, right? No Pats. So this is the first year ever that we are getting autographs of the base standard cards, right? Like last year we got the first ever autos in Sapphire selections, but it was extremely limited, right? 60 in total. There was 10 one of ones and there were 50 out of fives, right? 10 times 5. So 60 total, barely anything. Now we are getting a full insertion of autographs, right? So you're getting your base, you're getting your out of 25, you're getting your out of 5 reds of the base and of 1954. So you are going to average 5 autographs in a case. So like,
Whoa.
right away, Sapphire is better than it was last year. Then add on top of that, for the first time ever, Sapphire is not only going to include the base 200 set, right? Every single year Sapphire has been out, it's only been base 200 and then image variations, right? This year, it's base 200. They don't have IVs, but instead of IVs, every single insert. 1954, Speed Demons, Helmet Collection.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So all of the inserts are in there, right? And Helmet Collection is obviously the big one. So all the inserts you're going to get in gold out of 50, you're going to get in orange out of 25, black and white out of 15, purple out of 10, red out of 5, Padparadscha 1 of 1, right? I mean, 1 of 1 Helmet Collection is going to be pretty insane. So that's awesome. So I think if you just look at that, like, who cares about, like, even if they just ship the product as is, it would still be good. Even without the 1 of 1 autos in it, it's still got all of this other stuff. It's still better. I think people are kind of getting hung up on like, oh, but those aren't in there. Everything else is. So I still think it's great, but there is more. And then we're getting to the part where we can't quite talk about it. Now, hopefully on our next episode, all will be laid bare and we'll have ripped some of the stuff that we can then talk about. So, but we can't yet. The seal hasn't been lifted. But it is great. I mean, just anything outside of that, already aside, it's going to be a great product, and they are doing something to fix it. And I just can't say what it is. I know what it is. And so, like, I'm obviously talking from a perspective of privilege where, like, I know what it is and I can be like, guys, no, trust me, it's good. but I can't quite say what it is right now, lest I be,
I'm dying. I am sitting here dying to know as well. I don't even know. So that's how tight to the chest that our friend has to keep it here. So Scott, let's look at some stuff.
Yeah.
Let's look at the cards. So we have some of these to look. So we don't have any at this point of recording. We don't have any facsimiles of what the cards are going to look like from Topps. We don't even have a checklist at this point. However, we do have some of the live cards to look at here. So let me call these up on screen, and we'll kind of talk through some of the design.
Oh, God, these cards are beautiful.
We thought, Scott, that this was going to be something that would work really well with Sapphire. The way that the base chrome set had come up, they kind of have like the S curve in the track behind it. It's not as pronounced as it is in chrome, and even less in Logofractor, what we talked about before. But this on screen, a Max base portrait, purple out of 10, looks phenomenal. But man, Scott, this just works with the design. Like, this has got a chance to, like, and this is Sapphire through the entire card. It's not just the border.
Everything. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? Like, please, if you're not, guys, watch this on YouTube. Please watch this on YouTube, because it's just absolutely gorgeous. And this is like another thing, like even the base, like portraits, the colors, like this is why everyone always bought into Sapphire, right? Is for the purples, the reds, like the just beautiful cards, cracked ice. And yeah, this is just a perfect example of, wow, a huge hit here. Oh, let's not bury the lead. Next card on the screen, same portrait pose, but we got an auto here. So this is Max Verstappen base Sapphire autograph. And I haven't even pulled a base Max Verstappen autograph in chrome through like 50 something cases at this point. And I sampled one of Sapphire, and we pulled it. So hopefully many more to come. But yeah, so Max Verstappen autograph. I mean, Brian, what do you think?
This works great. I was a little. I mean, we got a little bit of a preview of what it was going to look like from the pads that did leak, but I really like this. And the other one that we'll show here too is my boy, Kimi Antonelli, another base one. Like, to me, seeing this on screen and having seen a couple of the base chrome refractor, autographs, I want the Sapphire one like that. I want both, but I will definitely want to add one of these to my collection at some point. I think even the fact that it's just a, air quotes, just a base. I mean, the fact that it's the first Sapphire autograph, that's not a Sapphire Selections. I think these are going to do very well. And the fact that, that they're even available in the product, I think is a big win.
Yeah, and you get a sneaky color match on every base autograph because it's blue marker and the base is blue, right? So you get a nice little pen to card color match there for, for every base. But yeah, so I mean, beautiful card, right? And wow, to hit Max and Kimmy in the same case, pretty insane. Ooh.
Helmet collection, my friend.
There we go. I mean, we knew this was going to look good, right? Like this is gorgeous, and this is where the debates are all going to rage because it's going to come down to what do you like? Do you like the clean look of like the chrome, right? Do you like the pure clean, like no blemish surface? Do you like the F1 logo of Logofractor, through the whole thing? Or do you like the cracked ice? And I'm going to say this right now, Brian. When we had first started looking at 2024, I said, I'm collecting helmet collection for sure. I'm going to collect them. I have now decided, now after having seen this, I am on a quest. This year, I want to collect all 15 helmet collection cards in gold, chrome, gold Logofractor, and gold Sapphire. And no, I'm not doing orange because I don't have that kind of money. And I'm certainly not doing red. But I think gold, I mean, imagine having all 3 copies, all 3 versions in gold out of 50 of all 15 drivers. Like that will look so good. And yeah, I want it. So we're doing it.
Done. My initial reaction is I think it looks great. I think put a gun to my head. I think I'm picking the Logofractor over the Sapphire for helmet collection.
Yeah.
But like you said, it looks great, but it looks very busy compared to Logofractor, to my untrained eye.
Yeah. Well, Logofractor, you get like the consistency,
Yeah.
Earlier.
Speed Demons looks better. We've got an out of 15 Pierre Gasly Speed Demon on screen.
Yeah.
I think this works. I actually think the Sapphire cracked ice works better for this insert than it does the others.
I agree. And I think that this is the best version of Speed Demons. Like I think this actually looks better than Logofractor because I think the Logofractor version, what is so good about it in helmet collection, it actually gets lost a little bit in Speed Demons, right? Like when you look at a Speed Demons Logofractor, it's not quite as like consistent because there's so many different parts of the card on Speed Demons, right? Where you're getting like there's the flag bottom left, and then there's the Speed Demons in the middle, there's the kind of outline on the right, like all the different things, and the cracked ice just kind of throws it all together. And this is black and white out of 15, although I will say, I'm just going to let everyone know. So while this black and white is out of 15 on Speed Demons, portraits, like the 1 through 200 set, portraits, cars, everything else, black and white is actually out of 20 this year. So you're going to see a little bit more black and white. But it's interesting that out of 20 in the regular set and then out of 15 on the insert. So interesting little kind of differentiation there. But yeah, I mean, I saw this one first out of the case and I was like, oh, So this is how you make Speed Demons look good. You make it black and white and, and cracked ice. And then I saw something that I think might even look better, and that is purple out of 10 Sergio Perez Speed Demons. I mean, I don't know about you, man. I think this looks absolutely amazing. Like, to me, this card just looks beautiful. And like, it could just be the combination of colors, like with his blue suit and like the red of the Speed Demons, the purple and everything. But yeah, I mean, this is just a gorgeous card.
Do we know anything about the parallels at this point, Scott? Like, is there anything higher than an aqua?
No, there isn't. So Aqua is the highest. Again, while we don't have a checklist right now, I know that for certain in the base set, it's the same as last year. It's Aqua, well, not quite, right? Because black and white, but it's Aqua out of 99. It's gold out of 50. It's orange out of 25, black and white out of 20, purple out of 10, red out of 5, Padparadscha out of 1. And then the only difference, right, is when you get to the inserts, black and white kind of reverts back to out of 15. But yeah, the purple inserts look amazing. And I actually saw someone else that was ripping it, maybe that shouldn't have been live on YouTube, pulled a purple George Russell helmet collection, and that thing looks absolutely stunning. So yeah, man, helmet collections, insert of the year for, it's not even close.
It's going to be so cool. I mean, now that we're going to have essentially, and this is very similar to what Topps does for baseball. Like, this is new to Formula One, where we're getting, the same set multiple different ways. But as a collector, and a good majority of these cards will be, quite affordable after the fact, after the rip. On the singles market, eBay, people like our friend Ferg at Red Rips, like there's going to be a lot of these things available, like on consignment. They're going to be attainable, like as a collector, and as if you're a specific team collector, a specific driver collector, the opportunity to either collect like the best version of an insert, and we just saw on screen where some of these work better than others, or the fact that you collect the same color parallel across, like what you want to do with helmet collection. There's no wrong or right or wrong way to collect, and I think it's, as a collector, it's really exciting for me just to know, like, throughout this year there's going to be a chase, and we haven't really covered this a lot with talking about the card collecting aspect. Sometimes the chase and the hunt is like 95% of the fun. Like, sometimes when you have it, it's just like, oh, now I have it, I can look at it whenever I want. But like the thrill of the chase, or thrill of hitting a card in a break, or opening a pack and getting it, like that to me is and always has been the most exciting part of the hobby and collecting. It's the thrill of the chase, and now you got options,
lots of different chases. Yeah, and listen, like, obviously my business, is based around primarily breaking, so of course that plays into the thrill of the chase and everything, and that's not the way for everyone. Some people like to specifically just hone in on what they want, buy singles, and that's probably the cheapest way to do it. But yeah, there's something that's fun about, I think it's a little bit more fun to hit a card in a break than it is to open it from an eBay package. But there is a place in the ecosystem that we call the hobby for everything, right? There's a place for someone to break cards, to be that place for other people to join those breaks and hope for their hits, and then to send the ones they don't want over to Ferg to have them on his consignment on eBay, and then other people that like to buy the singles can buy them there. They can see them in my singles streams, and there's repacks. Like, there's so many different things in the hobby that create this thriving ecosystem. And I think having more products, more variations, just lends itself to that. And like, I'm just thinking about, like, this helmet collection collection I'm going to put together. And like at first I was like, oh yeah, it's going to go so well in a binder, because you can have 1, 2, 3. You have like the driver, like 3 across, and then 3 across, 3 across, and they'll fill 5 pages. And now I'm like, well, no, screw that. I'm going to get like the what are they, like the vaulted God, I'm forgetting the name. I know Justin Incident, he has them on his
Oh,
stream,
the like
right?
the frame, like the thing
Yes,
you can
I
plug in the.
love those. They look so good, and they're carbon fiber. They stole it from no, but like they had it, even it goes so well with my brand because it's the carbon fiber. I actually have the case of it. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere around here, but I have like the case of it where it's like you have the 3 cards you can put on top, and you put all your slabs inside of it. And gosh, someone yell at me, Chris. I'm sure you know what it's called. So tell us what it is. But I'm forgetting what it is. But yeah, so basically you can fit 9 cards in it and like frame it up. And like, dude, I'm getting 5 of those things, and I'm putting all of the cards in there because it's going to take 5 of those to fill the whole gold collection, and then it's going to go on the wall, on the wall, on the wall, like, so that'll be like my background. How that's going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, now I'm getting excited. Now I'm going to go dome the rest of my Logofractor and I'm like looking for these. I'm gonna be on eBay right after this trying to find all this stuff.
I think I've got a gold George I can help you out with on one of those probably. So
Let's go.
no, you're gonna have to claw the black out of my cold dead hand. So that looks
No. Well, you can't do the black, right? At least
No,
for
you
what
can't.
I'm trying to do, you can't do the black just because it only exists in that. Now, here's something. If anyone in the, or maybe collectively, if the entire hobby can put together a set of red helmet collections, so from Chrome, from Logofractor, and from Sapphire, if you can put together all 45, right, and get it in one place and put it in those vaulted whatever, take a picture, like if this is something we can all come together to collectively do, whatever, I'll give away like $1,000 to somebody or something. Like I will, because I just want to see that happen. How legendary would that be to see a red, like I'm the peasant over
Sounds like
here
a trade night
doing it
challenge.
with girls,
Everybody bring your
right?
reds
Trade night
and
challenge. That would be epic if everyone, like, it's just to take the picture. Doesn't even have to be like, if everyone can just bring whatever reds you have, right? I just hit a red George Russell Logofractor. So there, we got that one done. Let's get all of them together. We got, SG hit the red Leclerc. I know Medalist hit a red Leclerc out of base chrome, and I think Jeff ended up buying it. I don't know where that card is right now, but we got to put them all together because that would look insane, having a red of every single type. Oh my gosh.
so if anybody can't tell, we're pretty excited about this stuff. I mean, this is why we do it. Talking about the cards is one thing, but it's pretty clear that we're both also collectors. And we're in it for the long haul here and have been since the beginning. So oh, good stuff. Wow, we could just keep talking about this stuff for hours, but we do probably have to pull the plug on the episode at this point. Street date is the 9th potentially for Sapphire. Scott, what have you got planned coming up in the castle?
Sure. Yeah. So I post on Instagram. They're getting close to filled already at this point. I mean, as the time of this, there might be a couple spots left. But Thursday night on Instagram, I'm going to be doing a all product mixer because, again, the product that shall not be named doesn't exist. So all product mixer, it's going to be half a case of Chrome Hobby, so 6 boxes, half a case of Paddock Pass, so 4 boxes, a quarter case of Logofractor, 5 boxes, and then half a case of Sapphire, 5 boxes. So like a little bit of every product. Pick your driver. I have 2 of those breaks posted. Those are going to be running Thursday night. So tonight, if you're listening to this at the time that this is posted on YouTube and podcasts and everything. But then also on Fanatics Live, I just have 2 cases of Sapphire. Pick your driver. And those we're going to run kind of in the middle of the day. I think I'm going live around 1 o'clock. As of the time of recording right now on Tuesday, that's about 60% full, each of them. So, I mean, those spots are also going pretty quickly. We just posted that today. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot. I really, really like the mixer that I put together, right? And it makes it so it's relatively affordable too, right? Like if you did a case of Chrome Hobby and a case of Paddock Pass and a case of Logofractor and a case of Sapphire, I mean, you're talking like a $15,000 break, something insane, right? I don't know the exact number, but it would be crazy. So kind of having it, or in the case of Logofractor, quartering it, makes it a bit more attainable to be able to join. And it's a lot of fun because it's a lot of different products. And now I'm looking at these products over on my tail. I just want to start ripping them. So yeah, I'm excited. Tomorrow night, which if you're listening to this now will be last night, we're ripping a case of Chrome Hobby and 10 boxes of Logofractor, which should be fun as well. But maybe we'll hit our first one of one out of Logofractor because we're 2 cases in, we haven't hit one yet. So we'll see.
It's about one every 33 boxes. So you're probably right
behind
due.
the curve. Well, listen, I've been due and a half on Chrome Hobby, so
Good stuff, and it's a great time. You know, we're filling in this time frame where it's still waiting 2 more months for the season to get kicked off, and yeah, it's a great time. I'm excited. You're excited.
It's gonna go by fast. It is gonna. We're gonna be racing in Melbourne before you know it. Seriously, it is on the horizon.
So, all right. Before this gets too much longer, let's pull the plug again. Thanks everybody tuning in, for viewing, for listening. We certainly appreciate it. Really excited to get 2025 started off with the podcast, with all the top stuff that has coming up. The Formula One season, there's just a lot to get excited about, and we'll be here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, again, another a thank you to the folks that sent in questions. If you got more questions, throw them in the comments, and maybe we can pick a couple each episode to just continue the community engagement and answer all those burning questions.
Indeed. So, all right, let's close this up, Scott.
All right, everybody. Well, remember to collect your cardboard and keep it carbon.